Hey, what's up, everybody? Hold on. Oh, living in California, had to go outside. Can never be too safe. Concerned about health. There we go. Oh, wait, almost there. There we go. So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways for you to improve your health by living on the edge. Let's go ahead and get started.
And joining us from San Diego, Chief Petty Officer Chris Sajnog.
Joining me now is retired Navy SEAL sniper, Chris Sajnog.
Welcome, Dr. Chris Sajnog.
All right, so I've been involved in health and fitness for about 35 years now. Starting when I was 16 years old, I was an aerobics instructor at Vic Tanny Health Club. Not sure if you've heard of it, up in Wisconsin. I don't even know if they're open anymore. Then I spent 20 years as a Navy SEAL and eventually earned my master's in health and human performance. And all along the way, I seem to always hear contradictory information on what you need to do to be really healthy. And so what I want to do here is kind of clean up some of that confusion with my 5 ways that you can improve your health by living on the edge. I'm sure you've heard people say everything in moderation, right? Well, what they don't tell you is that mediocre and moderation are synonyms. So if you're looking to be mediocre, then exercise in moderation, do fitness in moderation. But if you want to be excellent, then you need to live and operate on the extremes of health. All right, number 1, let's start off with exercise. A lot of us were taught that walking is a good way to stay in shape. And if you're looking to gain muscle or lose weight, that's actually correct, because you will stay in that same shape that you are in right now. You're not going to lose weight, you're not going to gain muscle, and the repetitive movements on your joints are going to just cause damage and not give you any gain for that pain. Now, this goes for any steady state cardio exercise that you want to do. Even going back to me teaching aerobics when I was 16 years old, or bike riding or jogging, any of these things, they can be fun. If you're doing for fun, if you're doing them to get outside, that's great, but they can't be what you're doing to get in shape. Because like I said, you're going to stay in the same shape you're in. Your body is going to compensate and accommodate for whatever you give it. So if you're doing steady state cardio, if you're walking, your body's going to accommodate for that, and it's going to keep some energy in reserve. And the way that energy is stored in men, it's the tire around the belly, and for women, it tends to be in the hips. So extreme health tip number 1 is to lift heavy weights to exhaustion and then focus on recovery and sleep. So you're either working really hard or you're not working at all, giving your body time to rebuild and grow those muscles. And if done properly, this can be done in as little as 5 to 10 minutes per day. All right, next up is temperature regulation. Now, for most of human existence, we didn't have air conditioning, we didn't have heating, and our bodies had to compensate for the differences in ambient temperatures. And what this causes is a hormetic stress, which is just a low-grade stress like exercise that's been studied for many, many years. Now, the problem is that most of us live in a controlled temperature environment. Some of us only being exposed to temperature differences from 68 to 72 degrees. And this is actually making us weaker. So, extreme health tip number 2 is to get comfortable with hot and cold. And a very easy way to do this is do what I do every morning and every night before bed. I take contrast baths or showers. So you can just get in your shower, turn it on as cold as it'll get, go for a minute and do a minute of hot, and then back and forth, do that 3 to 5 times. And this is really going to supercharge your body and give it that hormetic stress that it needs so much to thrive. All right, number 3 is your breath. Now, everybody knows, obviously, that breath is pretty important if you enjoy living. But how many of us really think about it unless we have a problem with our breathing? How you breathe determines how you live. And if you're a mouth breather, this one tip will change your life. So, extreme health tip number 3 is to focus on your breath. You either want to be breathing really hard or really soft. And an easy way to do this is twice a day, do some Wim Hof or other breathing methods. And Wim Hof breathing, if you haven't done it before, very simple. You do 30 very deep, very quick breaths. You blow out all your air on that last breath. You hold it for as long as you can. Then you breathe in, hold that for about 15 seconds, and then do it 2 more times, 3 more times, and call it a day. Now, the rest of the time, when you're not huffing it up, focus on keeping your mouth shut and breathing through your nose, unless you're eating or drinking or kissing. And this applies when you're sleeping too. And if you have a hard time doing this, it may sound extreme, but that's what we're talking about is extreme health here, is to tape your mouth shut. You just need to put a little piece of, Scotch tape, masking tape. I wouldn't recommend like duct tape or something like that. Don't use super glue, not a good idea. Just a little piece of tape just to remind yourself to keep your mouth shut when you're sleeping. All right, now for number 4. Hey, bro, what's going on? What's going on? You said I could talk about today's sponsor. Oh, yes, I did say that, didn't I? Yes, you did. Is now a good time? Sure, why not? Everybody, this is my twin brother who's going to tell you about the sponsor of today's show. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. Okay, so the sponsor of this video is Everbella Complete Collagen. And I'm sure most people have heard about the benefits of collagen supplementation, but haven't heard that most collagen supplements we take are destroyed by our stomach acid before our bodies can even use it. And this is the first non-powder micellized collagen. Well, micellization is basically a protective packaging around the collagen so it can pass through the acidic environment in the stomach so it can be used by our bodies. Wow, that's awesome, man. Yeah, that is awesome. And why don't you tell them some more of the benefits so we can finish up? Oh, yeah. So Everbella Complete Collagen is anti-aging. It's got MCT oil, omega-3s, vitamin E. It gets rid of wrinkles and glowing skin, lose weight, increase energy, all kinds of stuff. It sounds like a miracle to me. That's what it sounds like. What do you think, bro? Well, it's not a miracle. It's just micellized. And okay, is that it? Oh, yeah, that's it. Just make sure you tell them to click the link in the description. You just told them. Oh, I guess I did. Okay, thanks, bro. All right, see you later. All right, so number 4 on the list is food, and this one's pretty simple. You should either be feeding or you should be fasting. The mediocre mortal is usually on a 2-hour carb cycle, and that means you can't go for 4 hours on a plane ride without thinking that the pretzels are some form of medical intervention. And Really, up until 100 years ago or so, we didn't eat 3 meals a day. And if you go further back in human evolution, we didn't eat on some days. We were either feasting or fasting. We were looking for food, or when we found it, we would eat it. But what this does when you're fasting is it gives your body a chance to rest and digest. And it helps with cellular turnover, something called autophagy, that it actually makes you healthier. It helps with stem cell growth. It helps in so many ways. And you just need to give your body a rest. So extreme health tip number 4 is to start practicing what's called intermittent fasting. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's also called time-restricted eating or eating during a feeding window. But you want to get to where you're eating your meals, all your food, all of your calories during a 6 to 8 hour feeding window. And an easy way to start doing this, especially if you're on that carb cycle and you can't go for 2 hours without thinking you're going to die, is to simply start with breakfast, break fast, and just break your fast a little later each day. So you wake up, and if you normally eat at 6 o'clock every morning, wait until 7. And then when you're comfortable with that, go to 8. And when you're comfortable with that, go to 9. And then, I could keep going, but this is what you want to do. And they've done many, many studies that show when you eat is more important than what you eat. And I know that sounds crazy, but they've done studies that they've fed the people the same foods, the same amount of calories, and the ones that did it during a restricted feeding window were much healthier. They lost more weight than the other groups. So start practicing intermittent fasting. All right, so last up is to control the light. Now, just like food and temperature for most of human existence, we didn't have control over the light. Today, we've allowed light to take control of us and wreak havoc on our circadian rhythms. Now, circadian rhythms are physical, mental, and behavioral changes that follow a 24-hour cycle, and this is like an internal clock. And it's controlled by light and darkness, and it affects almost every aspect of our life. Most of the time, if you're feeling a little off, that's your internal clock telling you it needs an adjustment. So, extreme health tip number 5. In the morning, wake up, get up, go outside, and get at least 15 minutes of sunlight. And don't wear sunglasses. And then in the evening, make sure you control blue light, especially from electronics. Turn off your TV at least an hour before you go to bed. And if you have to stay up late to binge watch something on Netflix or whatever it is, make sure you wear some good blue light blocking glasses. All right, so that is it for today. I hope you got some value out of this, and I hope it helps you live a healthier and happier life. Please like and share the video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and keep paving your path to perfection.